All right, guys, welcome back. It is August 1st, 2024. We got a little bit of a different episode today. It's going to be two parts. You're looking at this one pretty much live when it gets loaded this morning. It's just a little after 8 o'clock. Getting ready to tackle a project. But we'll talk about little roots of Davis Auto Sales for a quick second. As you can see, I'm not in my normal attire. Well, yeah. So, my dad, for you that didn't know, or anybody that came by would know, he always wore slacks. On a 100-degree day like today, he would always be in slacks, a nice button-up shirt, sometimes even a tie. Now, he wasn't one of them super slicker car dealer guys, but he dressed nice. That's just what he did. He had a full closet full of nice clothes. He always encouraged me to do that. I did try to start with polos. All my guys used to have polos with a little embroidery, and we quickly went away from that to t-shirts. Well, today, I'm not even in that, which brings me to a cool memory with my dad. Every now and then we'd leave the house, and he'd be in jeans and a white t-shirt or a work shirt, whatever, just something from Nag's Head, whatever it was. We'd leave the house. Mom said, "You're not going to work today?" He'd chuckle. He'd take a little offense to it, actually, but that meant we were going to work, and we were going to do hands-on work. Because if you own a business, there's an infrastructure that has to be dealt with. We always handled all of our infrastructure ourselves. We might not put a roof on, but anything else that we did was hands-on. If we were redoing our shop, we were doing it. If we were putting a lift up, we were doing it. If we were fixing a broken door on the cleanup building, we were doing it. And when my dad would wear his not going to work clothes, it meant we were really going to work. And as all y'all know that follow, I've been tagging along my dad's side since I was like 8 years old to work every day. So we found this facility 24 years ago in 2000, about this time of the year, which means we bought this halfway through where we are in business. Been in business 48 years. So we bought this in 1990. It was a raw piece of land with a little house that had been a house. It had been an antique store, it had been a hairdressing salon, and then it had also been a tow lot, most recently before we bought it. So it was nasty, smelled like smoke, it was terrible. So we commenced to working on that, painting, recarpeting, doing it all ourselves. But on the outside work, which is what we're messing with today, he had a vision, I always had a vision of what this would one day become. Now again, this stayed dirt, trees. I'll insert some pictures for the longest time. But we knew we were going to pave it. So we actually trenched this, of course we called Ms. Utility first. We did it right. But we actually trenched these pipes in 75% by hand because these aren't water. Now we did have to have somebody come with a ditch witch and trench in the water line. But we trenched in these prior to that because we knew one day, you can see how far it is from the office, we'll walk that way, that we were going to want to have security cameras. We didn't know Wi-Fi. We actually just installed a bunch of extra security cameras yesterday. We didn't realize Wi-Fi and internet was going to be such a thing in 1990, so we knew we needed to hardwire it. So we put in water line, we put in electrical, we put in telecommunication, and then we actually put in a couple dummy pipes just so that when time came, we'd have a way to fish what we wanted, where we wanted it. Coming on along, that runs underground, it goes around, it actually goes over to the corner of the property, which the back property at that time we didn't even own. But we went to the corner of it because we knew one day we might want to connect. Lovely that we did because, again, it allowed us to hook to the property that we once acquired. And I promise, guys, I'm getting somewhere with this, and you're going to laugh, but I'm also reminiscing of some really good times that I was able to spend with my dad through business. Now, again, if a customer came, we had to stop because guess what? It was me and him. Usually there was a helper / salesman, but it was really just the two of us. And we were actually at the time running this facility and across the road, which was our original Jeff Davis facility. He stayed over there, I stayed over here. When we had a work day, we worked together. We worked on Sundays when it was not as busy. We got it done the best we could. Come along here to another flower bed. We built out the flower bed, also water, also telecommunications. These are actually some utensils of his, which we're going to use. You see the wooden handles, you see how old they are? I can't speak for my dad, but the other day I bought my first, at 48 years old, almost 48, my very first new shovel. And she's nice, don't get me wrong. But I told my brother, he stopped by the house that afternoon, and I was doing some yard work stuff with the shovel. I told him it was the first new shovel I ever bought. He kind of looked at me funny, but it's the truth. And I'm sure along the way my dad bought some new stuff, but we always made the best use of whatever we had. Post hole diggers, shovels, whatever it was. And we're going to use them today to do this project. It will be done by hand, even though we got machinery galore across the street. This whole project's going to be done by hand. Everything runs underground, goes to the light pole, goes to another little place over here. But here's what we're doing, guys. Surprise, surprise. We're putting in palm trees. Yep, palm trees. In Richmond, Virginia. If you have not learned yet, when somebody says you can't do something or you shouldn't do something, that's what gives me a little bit of drive to do something. You know, bigger trucks, faster cars. Palm trees won't live in Virginia, so they say. I've had palm trees for over 10 years. They take some maintenance, just like a race car, just like a lifted truck. You can't just drive it every day. But we're going to put these in the ground, getting ready to lay them out. They're very heavy, so Christian's going to put one of them on his back and carry it for me. He's shaking his head no. You can make palm trees live in Virginia. I've had them for over 10 years. They require a lot of maintenance. You got to keep them warm during the winter. You got to keep them fertilized. You got to keep sand on them. You got to trim them. There's a lot of things you got to do. But these things are going to be beautiful. They're going to be out front. No different than if we have a monster truck or an 8-door truck or a race car sitting out here. Here now, you're going to say, Davis Auto, the cool place with palm trees. And we're going to make them work. Everybody thinks it's funny. I just had my transport guy go pick these up. They're beautiful. I don't even know. I know one's called a Sable. Don't even know what the other one is. But we'll bring you guys a video when they're in the ground very shortly. We're also putting up some American flags. Believe it or not, we had to check with the county about that. Don't know where you're at in the world, but they said flags are what is acceptable. You can't have pennants. You can't have streamers. You can't have banners, but you can have an American flag. My dad loved American flags. There's an American flag hanging in the office behind my mom, which was my grandfather's. There's an American flag behind my desk, which was my dad's. They both served. So American flags are a big deal. So we're going to put some flags across the street. We're going to put up another couple flags out front like this. We're going to put flags on some antennas. And we're going to be proud to be an American. I hate to have this hosta, not to get boring, but this hosta came from our first location. I transplanted some of it and rooted it to our second location. I transplanted and rooted it here. I transplanted and rooted it to my parents' house, multiple houses of mine, giving it away to other people. All that hosta started as one small pot. Well, let me take that back. 2 small pots that I put on either side of our door, and I kept splitting it. So the day we're digging it up, I'm going to transplant it elsewhere. But all of that has taken root from 20-some years ago, a little bitty small container of hosta that our detail guy grew, and now we're going to keep on growing it. And he's still kicking it strong, so we're going to keep his legacy going. So, a little boring, guys. Davis Auto Sales. That's what's happening today. I'm in my work clothes, so when my mom sees me, she might be like, I guess you're not working today? Because that's what she would tell my dad. But nope, we're not going to be on a boat. We're going to be digging in the trenches. We're going to be planting these trees. It's going to be 100 degrees, and we're going to get it done. Part 2 coming. Stay tuned. We'll get a couple of these pictures dropped in. Thanks, guys, for the support. Appreciate it.